My father was highly focused, if not fixated, on quality. He felt that quality was everything. The way that you act, the way that you present yourself, the things that you do, your work product in general, those values that are centered around quality, focus on quality as quality endures, it runs through pretty much everything we do, including Sanford. My father's imprint on Sanford is to think about what is this vineyard giving us that will allow us to make wines of a higher level of quality that would cause people to stop and to think. The wine that actually causes you to put the glass down, sit back in your chair and say, how did this happen? So that's what we're trying to do. As I think about my father, he had this idea and this vision that if I have to choose between making a lot of wine or making a little bit of wine at the highest levels of quality, that to me is more interesting. This was this through line that my father envisioned, that quality transcends generations because it just does, right? One of the things he and I talked about often is that delicious doesn't require an explanation. It either is or it isn't. I think about some of the greatest wines that I've ever tasted, or some of the great wines of the world. They're beautiful when they're young, and they're age-worthy. Nobody had to explain to me why it tasted the way it tasted. When I think about the status, if you will, of this vineyard, it's not about what I think, it's actually about what other people think. So I would much prefer that Assam, who's tasting the wines of Sanford, will say, gosh, I don't remember them being this good. Or I don't remember them tasting this way. And now I know that our work is starting to have an impact on people who do this for a living, or quite simply somebody who happens to enjoy wine. The true potential and the magic of Sanford revealed itself over time. We knew when we became involved that it had great potential. Interestingly, when I tasted some of the wines from the 70s and early 80s with Michael Benedict, that was one of the light bulb moments for me, because I tasted wines that were beautiful and youthful and precise and with weight and complexity that were 40 years old. Pinot Noir. And I'm thinking, this is what we have here. Having a fundamental curiosity around what if, or what do we have here, I think is a driver towards improving. That fundamental curiosity drove us here at Sanford to launching an extraordinary number of trials on an annualized basis. If we're just going about doing things the same way year in and year out, we'll never know what the potential is if we don't try something to the right or try something to the left. And then paying attention to 1,000 details. This is one of our mantras here at Sanford, is that the difference between great and extraordinary lies in paying attention to 1,000 details, right? No one detail in and of itself being the silver bullet. But when I watch Trey and the team in the vineyard, in the cellar, and they're paying attention to these little teeny tiny details, when we start stacking those details one on top of each other, they become accretive very, very quickly. That requires an incredible amount of discipline to pay attention at that level of granularity to 1,000 details, knowing that you could blow it off, but you choose not to. So this team is paying attention to 1,000 details because they want to. They believed that this place had more to offer, and they were right. That's what I'm proud of. When I think about what we aspire to, I'm thinking about how do we make wines that are reflective of the place while at the same time having incredible complexity and weight and structure and depth. It's almost like a yin and a yang. On the one side, the wines are very delicate, and on the other side, they're incredibly complex with great weight and depth and precision. And when you put those two on top of each other, it creates this seamlessness that I think are particularly interesting when it comes to Chardonnay and Pinot Noir. And that's that balance and weight and precision and complexity all wrapped up together in a wine that is complete, right? It's complete in a way that it's not contrived and it's not overly simplistic. It's right, maybe a little right of center in terms of complexity and precision. The easiest thing for me to do is say, open a bottle and taste it yourself. You'll understand what I'm talking about.